What if the world's oldest monument wasn't just a tomb, but an equation? A message written in stone, aligned with the stars, whispering secrets. For centuries, we thought the Great Pyramid was silent. But maybe it's been speaking all along, just in a language we forgot how to hear. To hear it again, we have to start where they did. Not with machines, but with the sky itself. Long before satellites mapped the planet or compasses fit in our pockets, people looked up, not down, to find their way. The night sky was their GPS, the stars their coordinates. They didn't have lasers or digital instruments, but somehow they built monuments so precisely aligned to true north that even with all our modern tech, we still struggle to replicate it. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, misses true north by less than a fraction of a degree. That kind of precision doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of generations of watching, recording, and learning from the heavens. Imagine an Egyptian architect around 2500 BCE standing in the desert, tracing the slow dance of the stars. He's studying two stars near the North Pole, Kochab and Mizar, watching how they circle each other night after night. When one rose directly above the other, he drew an invisible line on the ground. That line was north. It wasn't guesswork. It was mathematics written in starlight. Night after night, he and his team confirmed the alignment, averaging out errors until the path to true north was certain. And when the sun came up, they had another way to double-check their cosmic math. The same quest for precision continued when night gave way to dawn. A simple upright stick, a gnomon, became their solar compass. As the day passed, its shadow crawled across the sand. At noon, when the shadow was shortest, it marked the exact north-south axis. They'd mark the shadow's tip, draw intersecting arcs, and connect the lines. No metal, no compass, just geometry and sunlight. The same trick appeared across civilizations, in Mesopotamia, in the Mayan world, in ancient China, where entire cities were built around the sun's movement. For the Chinese, the north-south alignment wasn't just practical, it was moral order. Across the world, direction itself became a kind of philosophy. It mirrored heaven's symmetry on earth. But direction wasn't the only thing that mattered. The ground itself had to be perfect. Builders used water to make sure everything was level. They'd dig trenches or carve stone channels, fill them with water, and watch the surface settle. Think of it like an ancient spirit level. The water always finds perfect balance. The calm water became a mirror of truth, perfectly horizontal, unaffected by wind or weight. Some say the Egyptians floated planks or inked lines on the water to mark that level. It's so simple, it almost feels magical, yet it remains one of the most accurate leveling techniques ever devised. Their accuracy didn't come from fancy equipment, it came from patience. These weren't one-off experiments, they were lifelong studies. Generations of sky watchers refined their measurements, compared seasons, and passed their findings down through apprenticeship and memory. By the time the Pyramid Age arrived, they weren't just builders. They were scientists before science had a name, blending astronomy, geometry, and human intuition into something almost divine. All of it, the stars, the shadows, the water, led to something deeper. Because for them, precision wasn't about perfection for its own sake, it was a way of reaching the gods. Aligning a temple or a tomb to the heavens wasn't just technical, it was spiritual. The pharaoh's resting place faced the stars that never set, symbolizing eternity. The Mayans tracked the solstice not just to plant crops, but to speak to the sky. Across cultures, geometry became a prayer, every straight line, every perfect angle, an offering to the cosmos. Thousands of years later, the results still hold. The Great Pyramid, Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, all align so precisely with the sun and stars that modern engineers still stand in awe. The ancients didn't need machines to measure the world. They had something better, an endless curiosity and a willingness to spend a lifetime chasing accuracy, one shadow, one star, one drop of water at a time. Their precision didn't end with direction, it extended into the stones themselves. Every layer of the Great Pyramid was a calculated balance between strength, reflection, and endurance. Even its atmosphere had purpose. Even the air inside tells a story. Step into the pyramid and you'll notice something uncanny. It's always cool. Outside, the desert might rage past 40 degrees, but within those walls, the temperature stays steady, calm, almost human. The builders had discovered natural climate control long before the concept existed. The porous limestone absorbed heat slowly and released it at night, while the granite resisted thermal expansion, keeping the chambers stable. In the king's chamber, the granite hums when struck, not by accident, but by design. The sound disperses stress through the stone, protecting it from cracks and collapse. They didn't just build walls, they tuned them. And the more we study, the stranger it gets. And if the sound wasn't enough to impress, the chemistry might be even stranger. The mortar binding those stones isn't simple cement. It reacts to moisture, forming tiny crystals that close up microfractures, a self-healing mechanism that modern engineers are only beginning to replicate. The pyramid breathes and repairs itself, alive in its own slow geological rhythm. That blend of practicality and purpose made every decision feel sacred, physics serving faith through perfect design. To us, it's a triumph of engineering. To them, it was a staircase to the stars. 4,500 years later, the Great Pyramid still holds its temperature, its angle, its silence. Its geometry turned to stone, science fused with faith, proof that intelligence doesn't need modern tools, only patience, purpose, and an unshakable understanding of the world beneath your feet. But maybe the greatest design wasn't in the stones themselves. It was in the idea behind them. The Great Pyramid wasn't only architecture, it was understanding made visible. 4 triangles rise from a perfect square, each face catching the sun in a slightly different tone, all converging into one impossible point. That shape alone says everything the Egyptians believed. The earth below, the heavens above, and humanity trying to climb the space in between. Geometry wasn't decoration, it was prayer. Each line was a law of balance, each shadow a reminder that light and darkness depend on each other to exist. Even the way sunrise splits its faces, too glowing, too dim, turns the whole monument into a daily performance of duality. To the builders, that wasn't symbolism, it was science. They were mapping philosophy into form. Every angle obeyed a rule, every proportion spoke of harmony. The base aligned to the 4 directions as if the earth itself had been used as a ruler. Its passages pointed to stars, Thuban, Orion, Sirius. Celestial markers woven into architecture. The pyramid didn't just face the sky, it listened to it. It tracked the rhythm of precession, the slow wobble of the planet, and froze it in geometry thousands of years before telescopes could confirm it. That gentle wobble, the Earth's long slow tilt, changes which stars we see over thousands of years. And while we talk about it as a tomb, it feels more like a machine, an instrument of balance built to harmonize with the world. The air inside even resonates at frequencies similar to those found in natural vibrations of the Earth. Modern physics adds another layer to the mystery. Electromagnetic models show how its shape concentrates energy, not by magic, but by math. A natural resonance that seems to echo the frequencies of life itself. What we call physics, they called spirit. What we call resonance, they called the breath of the gods. The line between faith and science didn't exist yet. Everything was one equation. The structure's perfection wasn't just visual, it was moral. To the Egyptians, geometry wasn't just math, it was ethics in motion. Every stone obeyed the principle of Ma'at, order, truth, balance. The same ratios that give us pi and the golden mean weren't abstract ideas. They were the moral geometry of existence. The builders understood something we've forgotten, that beauty, stability, and ethics share the same mathematics. A building could teach as much as a sermon. The pyramid also told time. Its shadow lengths marked the seasons. Its angles matched the latitude of Giza and the curvature of the earth. It functioned as compass, calendar, and clock all at once. A synchronization between human craft and cosmic rhythm inside and out. The architecture wasn't separate from the universe. It was part of its pulse. And that's just the outer story. Inside the design, there's something more, something human. Somewhere in that design hides another layer, one that feels strangely psychological. The broad base mirrors human consciousness at its most scattered, wide, sensory, open. The higher you climb, the narrower the structure becomes, ideas converging, distractions falling away, until all that remains is a single point of focus. Enlightenment wasn't just a belief, it was geometry. The pyramid is what thought looks like when it becomes still. And yet, we're still copying it. The same proportions that shaped Giza now live inside our skylines and our code. The Parthenon, the Louvre Pyramid, the Shard in London, all speak the same silent language. Even artificial intelligence, when tasked to build efficiently, finds its way back to that same silhouette. Like nature repeating a pattern, our machines echo the same logic without even knowing why. Algorithms without culture, without myth, end up redrawing the same triangle. It's as if the laws of energy themselves remember Egypt. From limestone to steel to silicon, the pattern keeps repeating. The Transamerica Pyramid echoes Giza's slope for strength against earthquakes. Neural networks, our invisible architectures, mirror its logic with wide bases of data narrowing into one decision. Everything we build, from buildings to brains, is some version of that ancient equation, many converging into one through order. Now, as humanity starts imagining homes on the Moon and Mars, the shape has returned again. AI-generated habitats, built for balance and radiation protection, keep defaulting to pyramids and domes. Not out of nostalgia, but necessity. The same geometry that outlasted 4,000 years of wind and sand is the one most suited for alien soil. The machines aren't copying history, they're finishing it. The Great Pyramid isn't just an artifact, it's an algorithm written in stone. It tells us that strength begins with symmetry, that intelligence is balance made visible, that faith and physics were never enemies. What started as a temple for the soul has become a blueprint for civilization. It reminds us that everything, from a grain of sand to a line of code, obeys the same silent rule. Order is the language of the universe. And that language, once carved into the desert, still speaks. Perfectly, patiently, endlessly. They remind us that the universe doesn't reward speed. It honors precision, devotion, and wonder. Every era leaves a message for the next, carved, coded, or computed. So maybe the next time we chase progress, we should look up, or within, and ask, what will we build that still speaks long after we're gone?